Hey everyone, it's Kevin Conway here with another stimulus news update where I'm going to be giving you the latest on the stimulus checks and unemployment insurance, as well as all of the other provisions in the newest stimulus bill. But first, I have some really exciting news. I'm going to be doing a giveaway of a $1,200 stimulus check. This is not a scam. You don't have to do anything. It's completely free. I'm merely doing this because I'm incredibly grateful for all of you out there that helped grow this channel from around 1,000 subscribers at the beginning of the year to where it is today. I'm also doing it in part because Congress is unbelievably slow and they can't seem to get anything passed right now, including stimulus checks, even though they all seem to agree on it. And while I don't have trillions of dollars to give away, trust me, I wish I did, I just want to do my part and actually give back to those who have given me so much, which is you guys out there. So stick around to the end of the video. I'm going to be giving you the details on how to take part in this giveaway so that you could be one of the people who can earn some stimulus money. The stimulus that is coming from my own pocket, not the government's. First, let's break into the latest stimulus bill news. My name is Kevin Conway. I make stimulus news update videos and other personal finance videos, such as how to invest in real estate, how to generate passive income, and how to get the most out of your bank accounts. So if you want to know more, be sure to check out my other videos. Subscribe to this channel if you're not already. Give a quick like to this video and be sure to share this video with whoever you think it might benefit. Now let's get right into it. So the Republicans and Democrats have made a, quote, little bit of progress on the stimulus negotiations. I guess that's better than nothing. But by and large, they're at more or less of a stalemate on some of the major sticking points on the stimulus bill negotiations, such as should the unemployment insurance benefit be $600 per week or $200 per week? Should they give businesses liability protection for virus-related cases, or should they not do so? These are some of the major sticking points right now in the legislation that is being debated between the Democrats and the Republicans. Now, we actually do have some news here because President Trump came in this weekend like a wrecking ball and said, you know what, if Congress does not get around to actually signing and passing anything anytime soon, I'm just going to start using executive action. For those who don't know what executive action or executive orders are, it basically works like this. The president can do certain limited things without the authorization of Congress. And what are those limited things that actually would affect you? Well, really, there are two things that President Trump pointed to that he may do in order to take executive action to actually get the ball rolling right now. Number one, President Trump may unilaterally extend the eviction moratorium. Passed in the CARES Act was a provision that prevented those who are in government-affiliated housing or with government-backed loans from being evicted for a short period of time. But unfortunately, that piece of legislation has now terminated. President Trump has the authority through the Housing and Urban Development Department to actually extend this eviction moratorium. So this certainly would affect millions and millions of renters out there. Number two, the second thing that President Trump has expressed his support for doing through executive action is by eliminating the collection of the payroll tax for a period of time. Now, this one's pretty interesting because President Trump will be able to actually increase the size of a lot of people's paychecks by the stroke of a pen without Congress's authorization at all. As anyone who's ever received a paycheck knows, their paycheck starts out like this and ends up like this. And part of that difference are taxes taken out and also payroll taxes. Payroll taxes are used to fund things like Social Security and Medicare, but they are collected from your paycheck every single time that you're paid. You pay them as an employee, and your employer also pays a portion of it as well that you never actually see. So what President Trump has talked about doing here is by eliminating the collection of that payroll tax for a period of time. Now, President Trump can legally do this by declaring a national economic disaster, which, according to the latest GDP figures, wouldn't exactly be out of the question. Now, he can't actually eliminate this payroll tax. He merely could postpone it until a later date, just like the IRS did with the tax filing deadline, which is typically every April 15th, but was pushed to July 15th for the first time ever this year. Now, how would this actually affect you? Well, if you are somebody who is still working, your paychecks would likely go up by around 7.5%. That 7.5% is the amount that the employees pay on their payroll tax. Now, the employer also pays an additional 7.5%, so it potentially could go up to as much as 15%. So if your paychecks are $1,000 every 2 weeks, your paychecks could very well go up to $1,150. That certainly would help people in this time. Now, the controversy with this payroll tax provision is not everybody has a job right now, so it would only affect those who actually have a job. And because of Social Security and Medicare being relatively insolvent, at least in the near future, not collecting taxes for this period of time is merely going to accelerate that problem. But here's a large takeaway. These two actions, extending an eviction moratorium and eliminating the payroll tax collection for a period of time, are certainly going to swing the balance of power and actually give the Republicans more negotiating power. And here's how. It has been argued that if President Trump does these two things, it's going to seem, at least to some people, that the Republicans are moving forward and the bill is being stalled in Congress by the Democrats. And whether or not that's fair, I'm not here to comment on. I'm just saying this is with a political game that is being played right now. If anything, it could just at least be perceived that way and at least get certain people in Congress to say, you know what, legislation might be moving forward anyway, so we might as well work with what we have and come to a compromise. I think that's what everyone simply wants at this point, is they don't really care if the Republicans get everything they want or the Democrats get everything they want. They just want a bill passed, and they want the bill to be passed so that the American people can actually get help right now. In my previous video, I talked about the enormous frustrations that people like us experience when we watch our politicians just kick the football around. And wait till you hear some of the proposals that they're actually talking about right now, which they're trying to pass in this bill. Instead of working on things like the stimulus bill, the stimulus checks, and the unemployment insurance, here are some of the priorities that your hardworking members of Congress are trying to get passed. Number one, $1.7 billion of your money they want to spend on a new FBI building in downtown Washington, D.C. In 2017, they originally were going to build an FBI building, a new one, in suburban Washington, D.C., but now they want to build it in downtown. Why? Well, the justification is it needs to be close to the Justice Department. But come on, I mean, we're all social distancing right now anyway. People are Zoom meeting. I mean, the whole thing is just ridiculous. This has nothing to do with the pandemic. Number two, some of the congressmen are talking about adding $300+ million for a White House renovation, complete with a new screening room. And whether or not this is a screening room used for defense purposes or just to watch the latest movie, I really don't know. But again, what does this have to do with the pandemic? What does this have to do with the tens of millions of people without a job right now? Number three, additional money for military weapons. Okay, all well and good, but we have a military budget that we could debate at a different time. This has nothing to do with the pandemic. Number four, a repeal of the state and local tax deduction caps that was passed in the Tax Cut and Jobs Act of 2018. Now, to be fair, this one is a little bit more nuanced than the previous proposals about just creating new buildings. The reason is because those who live in high tax states with relatively high incomes, such as those living in California or New York, actually are limited to deducting the amount of their state taxes off of their federal tax burden up to $10,000. Now, if you live in California and you pay property taxes, a lot of times your property taxes alone can be more than $10,000. Forgetting the point that you still have to pay income taxes in California. This state and local tax deduction, or known as SALT, is a way to actually get states that are more blue, so to speak, to pay more money than they did before this deduction was capped. And whether or not the state and local taxes should be allowed to be deducted is something that we should debate. However, is it really super relevant right now to those who don't have jobs? Probably not, for the same reason the payroll tax is not particularly popular. This only matters if you're making a good amount of money. And those people making a good amount of money right now probably don't need a ton of help. So overall, those are some of the things that people in Congress are spending some time on, which is super frustrating because everyone agrees, $1,200 stimulus checks. The Democrats said so in the HEROES Act. The Republicans said so in the HEALS Act. There's agreement there. Why don't they just pass that right now? And the unemployment insurance. This is something that, again, there is some agreement on. The Republicans and the Democrats have both stated that they want to extend the federal unemployment insurance boost. Democrats want to do $600 a week. Republicans want to do $200 a week until states have enough time to create the 70% cap on whatever you're making before as the calculation for your unemployment insurance benefits. The point is there is agreement right now, at least in part, for a small portion of the unemployment insurance to actually be extended. And for those who are watching the calendar days peel by day and wondering, okay, in a week, 2 weeks, am I going to be able to get unemployment insurance with that boost? And you're watching your congressmen, you're watching your senators, and you're watching all the people in DC bicker and argue over small details or things that don't actually even matter when it comes to the unemployment insurance. That's got to be incredibly frustrating. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Now here's the big takeaway. We have agreement on the stimulus bill in part, but not in whole. And hopefully the threat to actually take some executive action gets people in Congress talking so that we can pass a bill sooner rather than later. But if you guys don't want to wait until Congress passes a bill in order to see some stimulus money, like I mentioned, I'm having a giveaway here on my channel. Now, I've never done a giveaway before, and it actually was at the suggestion of my wife, who watches a lot of YouTube videos and says that people do this all the time. So forgive me if this isn't exactly the perfect way to explain it, but here we go. Number one, I'm gonna be giving away $1,200, which is the same amount as the stimulus check that was passed in the CARES Act, and hopefully is gonna be passed again in whatever legislation that Congress comes together. But I'm gonna take that $1,200 and divide it into 3 parts, $400 each. I'm gonna announce this winner a week from this Friday, and it's going to be completely random in how I select it. All you need to do is be sure you subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below in this video telling me what kind of videos you would like to see in the future, and leave a hashtag that is hashtag Kevin Conway Stimulus. If you do those things, you are automatically going to be eligible for this giveaway. I'm gonna take these video comments and I'm gonna take a YouTube generator to randomly select 3 people, and those 3 people will get the $400 each. Once you're notified, we can connect on Instagram and I'll just send you the payment via Venmo or Apple Pay, or we'll figure something out. And a few other things. There's some disclaimers that you should read in the description of this video. And also, if you're under the age of 18, then you need parental consent. And I think that's probably it. This is completely free. You don't really have to do anything. You just have to comment below so I could see who is eligible, and I think that's probably it. So please, YouTube, do not demonetize me or give me a strike because I'm trying to give away something for free. Oh yeah, and this is not affiliated with YouTube at all. They're not sponsoring this. And there's other things too I'm forgetting, but just read the description in the video. So that's pretty much it. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you who helped grow this channel to where it is today. It honestly blows my mind that we have over 60,000 subscribers today, because at the beginning of the year, my goal was to have 15,000 subscribers, and quite frankly, I didn't actually believe that was possible. And really, when I started this YouTube channel, I was actually kind of embarrassed to do so because I didn't want to seem stupid or foolish or have somebody find my videos and all of a sudden become embarrassed by it. But I'm really glad I did, because it allowed me to connect with everybody, people that I would have never known before. People live in different parts of the country, even parts of the world, who comment on this channel and I interact with, and it really brings me a ton of happiness. So once again, thank you. It's just my way of just trying to give back and letting you guys know that I sincerely appreciate each and every one of you. So with that being said, if you're not subscribed already, consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video and sharing it with whoever you think it might benefit. With always, I will give you the latest news on the stimulus bill, and I will give you new personal finance videos, and I'm looking forward to seeing your comments below. I'll see you next time. Thanks.